Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Media Access Awards Easter Seals interview series. Today, we're talking to Ryan O'Connell, the creator of the Netflix series Special. The main character in the series is still grappling with being gay and disabled, but Ryan is everything that he truly is. It's such a pleasure to talk to him. Check it out. Why did you feel like you had to hide your cerebral palsy?
Because there was no dialogue around disability. I feel like no one understood what cerebral palsy was. Like growing up with it when I was younger, like if someone asked, which was kind of rare, but like if they would, like I would say I have cerebral palsy and they would just be so confused. I don't think people understand what cerebral palsy means. And by the way, like cerebral palsy is a disability with a wide spectrum. So
Right.
it truly manifests in so many different ways. And so I felt like there was no reference point. You know, it's like you can come out as gay and people like at the time be like, oh my God, Will and Grace, Chuck, Will, love. And I think that for disability, they're like people are like going in their Rolodex of knowledge and they're like beep 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 cerebral palsy beep 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 beep. They're like, I don't know what, like does not compute, meltdown. Like I don't like, so I think it was really hard for me. And obviously I had a huge dollop of internalized ableism and I did not want to be disabled and I did not want to identify as being disabled. And I never felt disabled enough. You know, I existed in this kind of mild space, not able-bodied enough, not disabled enough. So it was much easier when I got hit by a car and moved to New York to go to school. Everyone just assumed my limp was from getting hit by a car. And it's not like no one, it was the perfect lie because no one comes up to you and goes, gee, how's the cerebral palsy doing? Like there's no threat of being found out because like no one really knows what cerebral palsy looks like. So like I never said I didn't have cerebral palsy, just no one asked and they assumed it was from an accident. And I never corrected them, you know?
But what was the bridge for you, like the internal bridge that said, you know what? Fuck it. I am who I am, and I'm just going to put it all out there. And, I'm proud of being me.
Well, you know, I think I had a moment of clarity when I got my book deal. I was 25 and I had been pretty seriously into drugs and I was like Les Miserables. And I think that, you know, as much of a crumb of self-awareness as you can get when you're 25, I think I had this kind of moment of clarity where I was like, oh, I bet the reason why I'm in such emotional and personal hell right now is because I've been denying such a large part of who I am. And so when I got the book deal with Simon & Schuster, I sold a book that had nothing to do with cerebral palsy. I did not talk about my cerebral palsy. And when we had our first sit-down meeting, our kickoff meeting, I knew instinctually that this was my opportunity to come clean about who I was. And there's nothing like the threat of a book advance getting taken away from you to incentivize you to be honest. So you know, it's so funny because I look back at me at 25 having the wherewithal to know that this was something I needed to do in order to save myself. And it did. It truly saved myself. It really made me quit drugs. And my life really did not start until I came out about having CP when I was 28. And then everything just kind of went in the fast track after that.
It would have been pretty hard to write that book without admitting that you had CP, you know.
Oh my God, it would be insane.
That would have been a real act of, you know, chicanery or something.
Well, it would be so wrong. And it would be, you know, but even then I look back at the book and I'm kind of sad that I wrote it then because I was working through my issues about being disabled in real time. I was remembering things that happened to me as a child that I had repressed that were traumatic to me. And I was working through it. So there was no hindsight whatsoever. Like it was just so, I really feel like the book suffered from like, I mean, I did not know what internalized ableism meant. I did not know why I was really closeted about my disability. Like I didn't have the language that I have now to articulate it. I feel like I learned so much about disability every day. I'd never professed to be, you know, a master of disability. I don't know everything and I'm still figuring it all out. But back then I really didn't know anything because I just cut that side of me off for so long.
I love the episode where you had the blind date so-and-so and you rejected the blind person because they were blind. That's what it seemed like.
Oh yeah,
that was a really brilliant twist.
Yeah, no, the deaf guy. Yeah, so basically that actually happened to me in high
school.
Deaf,
not blind. Blind date.
Yeah.
Right.
that actually happened in high school. This gay deaf kid who was so hot asked me out on MySpace, and I was like, disgusting! Like, I can't believe he thinks like he can go out with me. This is so gross. And like, I was like, oh my god, hate yourself much? I mean, I think that is so interesting. That doesn't really get explored in marginalized communities, because I think that when we are represented, we have to be kind of perfect, virtuous characters. And I think that the thing that interests me the most is like the self-loathing, the internalized ableism, but also like, women experience internalized misogyny, gay men experience internalized homophobia. I think it's fascinating, when we are taught to hate ourselves for who we are at a very young age, and how that manifests and how we turn that hate inward and it affects everything that we do. That to me is so thorny and like complicated. I mean, I know that there are some people that thought, my character in Special was an asshole. And I'm like, great, love that. Like, I celebrate that. I'm so glad that I wasn't some perfect disabled butterfly that was there to like be your golden child and make you feel good about yourself. Like, yeah, like go watch me be an asshole. It's called being a human, hun. Like, I've had to watch able-bodied people be human and complicated and thorny on TV. Now it's our fucking turn. Like, don't tell me how to be. You know what I mean?